What's the story, Morning Glory? What is the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Life After Lockup Season 6, Episode 13, Positives and Negatives. Let's talk about the most ghetto couple I've ever seen in my life, Brooke and JK. JK has been out of prison for 5 weeks, and a lot has happened in those 5 weeks. So right now, both Brooke and JK are unemployed. Y'all, I busted out laughing when they showed the pictures of Brooke and JK, at the beginning of every segment, and it said unemployed, unemployed for both of them. They are both unemployed. So we see Brooke, she's back at home with her boys where she should be, where she should have been this whole entire time. Instead of chasing after JK, but then we wouldn't have a show if she did the right thing as a mother. So she's back at home with her mom and her two boys, and she's in the bathroom, and she's got like a whole bunch of pregnancy tests laid out on her bathroom counter. This girl has taken 6 pregnancy tests. 4 of them are positive, 2 of them are negative. So she doesn't know if she's pregnant or not. Girl, if you get one positive pregnancy test out of 50, you're pregnant. Okay, some tests are more sensitive in picking up the pregnancy hormone. I think it's called HCG. They're a lot more sensitive in picking them up than other tests. And so an other test is going to look like you're negative, that you're not pregnant, but it's only showing up negative because the test isn't sensitive enough to pick up on that pregnancy hormone. And then you can buy other tests like First Response, I think, where they are super sensitive and they pick up on the pregnancy hormone a whole lot quicker. So the girl is definitely pregnant. I'm like, how do you not know any of this? But she doesn't. So she doesn't know if she's pregnant or not. So she goes into the kitchen, and her boys are there having breakfast. Her mom is in the kitchen cooking, and no, she doesn't say this in front of her boys. I think she first starts talking about JK and how he's not answering his phone. Now, JK is upset with her because in last week's episode, he found out that Brooke has been lying about working. She lost her job, and she lost her job because she was so busy chasing him. She wasn't showing up for work. She was leaving her job early, chasing JK all over Texas. So she didn't tell JK, but she told a mutual friend. And this particular mutual friend is closer to JK than she is to Brooke. And I don't know why Brooke would confide in this friend something so important as losing her job and then thinking that the friend wasn't going to tell. But all of that, the scene with the friend, telling the friend that she wasn't working, and all of then the friend calling JK as soon as Brooke walked away. It was very producer driven to me, that scene. It was like you can tell that this scene was created for dramatic purposes. She confides something so important as losing her job to this girl, and then the girl immediately calls JK after promising Brooke that she wasn't going to tell JK. It just seemed really producer driven, that scene. So anyway, JK's not taking any of her calls because he's upset with her that she's been lying about being unemployed. Her youngest child says, I know where JK is. He's with his ex. And I was thinking to myself, where did that come from? Where did that come from? How does your son know that JK even has an ex? Like, how much are you sharing with your children when you are with them, Brooke? Because that like came from left field completely, that this child said that JK was with his ex. Like, how does he know that JK even has an ex? But anywho, so then the boys get up and they go play video games. And this is an opportunity for Brooke to tell her mom that she took a whole bunch of pregnancy tests, and some were positive and some were negative. So the mom says, well, let's hope you're not pregnant. Ma'am, she's pregnant. Okay, it is extremely rare to get a false positive on multiple pregnancy tests. On one, I can see that possibly happening, but on multiple pregnancy tests, it is really rare to get a false positive. And she took 4, and they're all positive. So her mom says, well, let's hope you're not pregnant. Then she tells her mom that she lost her job, and her mom is pissed. Her mom is pissed beyond passivity, and she has every right to be upset because you have Brooke, a grown woman, making these stupid childish decisions to have a baby with her ex-con boyfriend as soon as he gets out of prison, lose her job over said ex-con boyfriend, always ripping and running around chasing this man while her mom is stuck at home with her 2 kids, soon to be 3. So the mom tells her, don't say anything because you're getting all of this conflicting information on your pregnancy test. Do not tell anybody about this until you go to the doctor and you get a confirmed blood test of whether or not you're pregnant. But does Brooke listen to common sense and reason? Hell no. What does she do? She grabs her bag and she's on her way to JK's house to let him know that she might be pregnant. So she shows up at his doorstep completely unannounced, and she tells him that she took a whole bunch of pregnancy tests and some were positive and some were negative. So she doesn't even know if she's pregnant or not. Brooke, you're pregnant. Brooke, you are pregnant. Like, stop. Stop. If nothing else, go with the majority. Okay. If you don't know anything about pregnancy tests and pregnancy hormones and the sensitivities of different tests, if you know nothing about that, just go with the majority. Okay, because I don't think that 4 different tests could give you a false positive. So, um, he acts like he's really devastated, even though these people were trying to get pregnant. Okay, that was their goal, was to have a baby. He acts like he's all devastated and he doesn't know what to do. So they go inside the house and he calls his mom and his stepdad over, and he sits them down and he's like, "We've got something to tell you." And so they tell the parents that she took a pregnancy test and it was positive. Of course, the parents are not happy about this because his mother had been preaching since day one, do not get her pregnant. Use condoms. Don't get her pregnant. Whatever you do, do not get her pregnant. So Brooke says in her confessional that she doesn't understand why his parents acted so devastated when they got the news that she was pregnant. And she says in her confessional, this is their baby's baby. Why wouldn't they be happy about this? Why wouldn't they be excited about it? Because babies are not just living dolls, Brooke. Babies are human beings that need to be fed and taken care of. And that requires money, which you and JK don't have. Okay. Because you stupidly lost your job chasing this man around. Okay. Trying to figure out where he's at, what he's doing, who he's with. That was more important than you keeping your job that helps you take care of your own kids, that helps you pay for your own bills. You completely sacrifice that because you're trying to figure out what the hell's going on with JK. So for her to be like, why weren't his parents excited about their baby having a baby? Because they understand that if you and JK don't got it, they're gonna have to step in. And they're sick and tired of having to step in for their wayward son. Always there to pick up the pieces because he can't seem to make an intelligent decision to save his life. So she says, do they not see that their son's going to be a good dad? This is what she says in her confessional. Can't they see that JK is going to be a great dad? I know that I'm a damn good mother. Are you, Brooke? The way you're constantly leaving your kids with your mother to take care of because you're chasing some man around. Are you a good mother, Brooke? The fact that you are having a baby, that you're thinking about bringing life into this world with someone who the two of you can get it together on any level. On any level. Neither one of you have a job. Y'all's relationship is up and down. And you're talking about bringing a baby into this, thinking that this is the perfect environment to bring a new baby into. That makes you a good mom, Brooke? She said, okay, so she said all of this with a straight face. I couldn't believe it. I thought she was joking. The stepdad says, don't come for me for money. And I'm like, hell yeah, stepdad. I stand with you on that. Hell yeah. Because these people need to grow up at some point. At some point, they need to act like responsible adults. So when the parents leave the living room, JK tells Brooke that he wants to be there for his child. He doesn't want to be a part-time dad. He doesn't want to be a weekend only dad. He wants to be there with the day-to-day raising of his child. And of course, when Brooke hears this, she's probably thinking, oh, this must mean that he wants to get back together with me. Like, hold your horses, Brooke. He only said that he wants to be there for his child more than his dad was there for him. He said nothing about getting back together with you. And JK tells us that if Brooke is pregnant with my child, then that's a blessing. Obviously, babies are blessings, but they need to eat and they need to be clothed and they need to be taken care of. How are you going to do that? And you're unemployed and your baby mama's unemployed. How is that going to happen? If it wasn't for y'all's parents, how would that baby eat? Moving on to Leticia and Keith. So Leticia and Keith Letitia and Keith's very young looking dad go see an attorney because Letitia wants to know what are the options of Keith getting custody of his son. So Keith has a son that obviously, was left with his own mother, the child's mother, when he went to prison. Well, right before Keith got out of prison, the mom caught she didn't catch a charge, but DCF got involved, Department of Children and Family, because she had neglected the child or something. So they took the child away from her. And I think they gave the child to Keith's dad. And I think Keith's dad is like, yeah, this is not what I signed up for. So Letitia wants to know, what can Keith do to get custody of his son? And the lawyer gave it to them straight, no chaser. The lawyer was like, it doesn't look too good that Keith would get custody of his child because he's an ex felon. He went to prison for drug distribution. So there's always the fear that there could be drugs in the house. And if there's drugs in the house, this could bring other type of criminal elements into the picture around the child. The mom isn't fit to take care of him. Keith has all of his issues. Letitia herself is facing a theft charge, and she's talking about, not understanding why they can't give the child to Keith. And the lawyer said, when it comes to children, the courts will always do what's in the best interest of the child. And it looks like all the adults around this child, except maybe for Keith's dad, I don't know, all of the adults around this child are not fit to raise a goldfish. Okay, so the possibility or the probability of the courts giving Keith his son back is slim to none. And so Letitia's confused. Like, I don't understand. He's a great dad. He's a family man, but he's also an ex-con. He's an ex-felon who was involved in some major drug distribution. And he served a lot of time in prison, girl. And what are you talking about? What exactly are you talking about? You really are expecting the courts to hand over this child to Keith, and he hasn't even been out, I don't even know, like a full 72 hours yet. You think that he's in a position, y'all, I can't. So the next time that we see Letitia, she's back at home with her youngest daughter, and they're baking a cake for Keith's welcome home party. Welcome home, not from prison, but from the halfway house, because Keith is about to be released from the halfway house. He spent 2 months in there and he's about to come out. So they're in the kitchen baking a cake, and the girl is talking about, oh, I'm so excited that my dad's. No, they're talking about Keith's. Not Keith. They're talking about Letitia's oldest daughter as well, and the little girl says, I'm so glad that our daddy's coming back home. And Letitia says, well, that's not your sister's daddy. Keith isn't your sister's daddy. And then the little girl says, oh, okay. No, that's not what she says. She goes, oh, he's not? Okay, she was confused about that. Like, why isn't Keith my sister's dad too? So then she says, but Keith is my daddy. And then Letitia says, well, he's like your, what did she say? She said something like, he's like your bonus dad or your stepdad, but he's not your biological father. And the girl was like, Keith isn't my biological father? She was thoroughly confused. So it makes sense to me now why she was so excited about Keith coming home, because on Love After Lockup and on Love During Lockup, when we first met Letitia, the little girl was so excited about Keith being released from prison, and I was like, that's interesting that, he's been in prison the majority of her life, but this girl acts like she's known this man her whole entire life, and they have this great bond because she was super excited about Keith coming home. Letitia's oldest daughter isn't here for it at all. She is not here for Keith. She is not here for Keith and her mom being married. She ain't here for none of it. But the little girl was overly excited, overjoyed about Keith coming home. And the reason why was because this child literally thought that Keith was her biological father. And so Letitia tells us that her daughter took it upon herself to see Keith as her dad. That she was the one that called Keith dad on her own, like voluntarily called him dad. But at the same time, Letitia tells us that her daughter has felt this void of not having a father. So you let her believe that Keith was her biological father. You see, Letitia, the way she explains it to us, it's almost as if she had nothing to do with her daughter believing that Keith was her biological father. She was kind of like, yeah, she just took it upon herself to call him dad. She just took it upon herself to look at him as her father. So why weren't you there to correct that? Why weren't you there to say, okay, Keith is going to be like, the best stepdad, or he's going to be this fantastic bonus dad, to let her understand that this is not your biological father, but he's going to make a damn good, bonus dad, or however you want to explain it to her. But let her understand, let her know this is not your biological father. But she allowed this child, that's what it seems like to me, she allowed this child to continue this fantasy that Keith was her real dad, because when she found out that he wasn't, this child was confused. And I think she was also a little bit overwhelmed, because as soon as it kind of sunk into her head, she just kind of like just went about her business, didn't ask any more questions about it. So it's the day of Keith's release from the halfway house. Her daughters are not there for the actual release and the celebration because they're in school. So it's after she drops off her kids at school, she goes to pick up Keith, takes him to the restaurant where his family is waiting for him, and they celebrate there at the restaurant. And the whole time, Keith is thinking about and talking about trying to get his son back, trying to get custody of his son, and hoping that he's able to get custody of his child. Moving on to Bianca and Daniel. Bianca and Daniel, to me, I enjoy watching Daniel. I enjoy watching Daniel trying to get his life back. I do not enjoy watching Daniel and Bianca together, because Bianca is insufferable. She's extremely annoying. So, Bianca, first of all, let me back up. Last week, Daniel found out that he had to go to this other place, this other city, to take care of a shoplifting charge. So he shoplifted 6 years ago, and this charge was still pending, and so he's got to deal with it. So not only does he go there to deal with it, but he goes there alone. He tells Bianca he doesn't want her to go with him. He needs to be alone. He needs to, collect himself, because he could possibly be facing some jail time over this charge, which we know it don't got nothing to do with that. He finds her as annoying as I find her, and he just wanted some damn peace and quiet on his way to this other city. So she gets a call from Daniel's parole officer, and the parole officer says that Daniel is not coming back home. So Bianca gets all in a tizzy. She starts, pulling off her mic, saying she doesn't want to film anymore because she's a little bit overwhelmed with this news that Daniel's not coming back home. I didn't understand what the hell was going on. He's not coming home at all, or he's not coming home when she expected him to. Like, I was so lost. So the next time that we see Bianca, she's back to filming again, and she gets a call from Daniel, and Daniel tells her that, everything went really well. He's not going to be serving time in jail. All he has to do is 80 hours of community supervision and then pay a $50 restitution fee. That's it. So the PO had threatened to remove Daniel from Bianca's home. And that's because the PO believed that Daniel staying with Bianca was not helping his sobriety. And so Bianca's kind of like, why would you tell your PO like what's going on in our home? Why are you painting this really bad picture of me? And so she's all stressed out about that. And I think Daniel was just being honest. I don't think he was painting a bad picture of her. I think that Daniel was just being honest when it came to, you know, like what's going on over there. And he was probably just being honest, saying that, well, my girlfriend, she drinks, and I'm trying to stay sober, and we argue a lot, and it's stressing me out, blah, 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 blah. And so the PO was like, okay, we need to get him removed. Daniel then is on his way home. Okay. And he talks about how Bianca has been blowing up his damn phone the whole entire trip. And he has not been answering her because she's annoying and he wants a break from her. So he's been not answering her calls, not responding to her text messages. So on his way home, he gets a call from one of his homeboys, and they're like, hey, we're all hanging out at this bar. Why don't you come join us? So he makes a quick detour to the bar to hang out with his friends. And when he's hanging out with his friends, he's talking about Bianca and how annoying she is, and how she's basically smothering him, and he needs a break. Bianca and Daniel are just not good together. First of all, Bianca is I don't know what, she's a negative Nancy. Okay, she's like a wet rag. She takes the fun out of everything. She is a complainer, she's a whiner, she's annoying, she is controlling, she is suffocating him, all of the above. So I'm really sad that Daniel, he's free after 6 years or whatever in prison after serving all this time. And it's like he jumped from one prison to another. Okay, because Bianca is not loosening up and she will not loosen up. And Bianca's telling us, oh my God, he doesn't answer my calls. And now that he's got a job, he's making money and he has a car, I'm feeling him like pulling further and further away from me. Yeah, yeah, he is. This is what happens when you rush into a relationship with someone and y'all really do not know each other. And this someone is not only having to deal with trying to get their life back on track, but they're also dealing with an addiction. Okay, this was a bad idea from the get go, Bianca. Everybody tried to tell you so, but you didn't want to listen. And now you're all crying and sad because you feel like your boyfriend's pulling away from you. He was not in a position to be anybody's boyfriend. He has to take care of himself first. But no, Bianca had to get what Bianca wanted, even if it was to the detriment of Daniel and him getting his life back. So obviously nobody has any sympathy for Bianca because she's absolutely in the wrong for forcing this man into a relationship and not giving a damn about his sobriety and not letting him live his life just a little bit. Damn, Bianca. Moving on to Justine and Michael. Justine and Michael, I'm a little bit over them. The reason why I'm over them because I think they are the fakest couple this season, simply because I think their storyline, their conflicts is all made up. It's all just for the plot. I don't think it's real. I don't think it's true. Whatever they're going through, because it's like when a couple is doing well and they really don't have any issues, the fake conflict that the producers create for them doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. The fact that they're arguing about a $60,000 wedding when I highly, highly doubt that these two people even have $10,000 in their bank account. But she is whining about the fact that he can't give her a $60,000 wedding. This is ludicrous. Therefore, it's a lie because it doesn't make any sense. Y'all have an entire football team of children. Some of them are in college, some of them are newborns, and everything in between. And you're talking about a $60,000 wedding, Justine? It doesn't make any sense. Y'all do not have, because if you have 60,000, if someone can easily have 60,000, they can easily have 100,000 in my opinion. Um 60,000 for you and him, if y'all really, okay, let's just really logically think about this. If Justine and Michael really, really, really do have $60,000, okay, then they should have no financial issues at all whatsoever. Okay, they should be able to pay for their older children's college education with no issues, no problem. If they have $60,000, that means that they struggled a lot to accumulate $60,000. And you want to blow all of that on a damn wedding? And if they got it like that, right, where they do have the money, they do have the luxury to spend $60,000 on a one-day event, then they should have twice that much in their bank account. If 60,000 ain't nothing to spend on a damn wedding. That's a lot of money for a one-day event, especially when you're already married. You are already married. Y'all have a plethora of children. Like, what the hell are we spending 60K for? It's not like they're in their early 20s, new love, new relationship, or whatever the hell, starting their lives off together, no kids. And they just want to have this really magical moment, this really magical experience, and they've got the money to blow on it. Y'all have children, kids in college, babies in Pampers. Everybody's living in this one damn house, and you've got money to blow on a one-day event. I don't know if I made myself clear enough. Okay? Either they worked really hard for 60K and it makes no sense to blow it on a wedding, or they got it like that because they've got multiple streams of income, so they say multiple streams of income, and they got it like that, so 60K shouldn't be a big deal. Michael should not be putting up a fight and giving her a $60,000 wedding, and also he should have enough money to start his new barbershop slash hair salon. So their conflict is he wants to use the money to open up this barbershop. because he says that the money they're going to be making from this barbershop is going to double, triple the amount that she wants to spend on her wedding. So to him, it's like a win-win. I get what I want, which is another stream of income, another business venture. You get what you want, which is your expensive wedding. Because this business venture is going to help pay for that wedding. All we got to do is just push the wedding back. I don't think that they can push it back enough for him to accumulate $60,000 to pay for a one-day event. All the money coming from this one. That barbershop has to be in business for a good, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years before they've got 60K just to blow. The barbershop can make 60K, but do you have it just to blow away on a one day event like that? Now, that's what doesn't make any sense to me. So she's really upset about that. So they're arguing about that. And in the middle of their argument, she ends up calling him a mama's boy. And he was like, well, you're only calling me a mama's boy because you don't have a relationship at all with your mother. So that that was like a sore spot for her. So she's like, you know what? I don't even want to get married. I don't even want to marry you. Forget the wedding. They slept in separate rooms that night. The next morning, she brings it up and she tells him, look, don't you ever talk about my damn family because you don't understand what the hell's going on with my family. You don't understand our dynamic, our relationships. So don't you ever bring up my family again, especially bring up my family to try to weaponize against me. But like I said, Justine and Michael are just fine. I don't think they have any real conflict from what I see on social media. You know, they are very still much in their love bubble. I've always said that Justine and Michael exist in their own world. Even though they got a lot of chaos around them, they have secluded themselves in this love bubble, and all they see is each other. All they care about is each other. Moving on to Will and Courtney. I'm not going to take up too much time talking about Will and Courtney because it's just stupid. Courtney, you're stupid for getting back on whatever drug it was that you got caught with, GHB or whatever the hell it was. That was a really stupid move. But then again, you're an addict. So instead of getting the help that you need to fight your addiction, you're involved with Will and all of his shenanigans and trying to capture you and drag you back to California and have you holed up in his house. So Will, he's upset because she got in trouble again. She went to jail for being caught with GHB or whatever it was. So he does, and that messed up the her ability to travel outside of wherever she's at, Seattle or Washington. Not Wash. Yes, she's in Washington, right? Or is it Oregon? Wherever she's at, she can't travel. She can't leave her state now because she got in trouble again. So he's upset about that because had everything planned out that they were going to fight for this interstate, whatever this is, to allow her to leave her state, to go to California so they can start their new life together. Now she done messed that up. He has no idea when they're going to be able to be together in California. So he's so upset with her that he didn't bail her out of jail. She had to go call on one of her other sugar daddies, Mark, to help her get out of jail. And he won't send her any money. And she talks about how Will promised her $1,000 a month. Will doesn't look like somebody who can give somebody $1,000 a month. I'm not saying that he's poor. I'm not saying that he's broke, but he just doesn't. He's not giving like someone who can just give 1,000. I don't believe it. I think he was, messing with her mind. So she's complaining about it, and he's still not giving me $1,000 a month the whole time that I've been out of prison. He's only giving me $300. Okay, so that should tell you he don't got it. He don't got it like that. So they're arguing on the phone while she's talking to Will and, berating him and like, why don't you help me? Why don't you financially support me? I'm your wife, but you're not treating me like your wife. Her sugar daddy, Mark, is like right next to her, listening to all of this, just waiting for his opportunity to go in for the kill because he wants Courtney for himself. Courtney tells us that she would never, ever, ever sleep with a guy like Mark. Not her type, not her thing, not interested. But she'll probably do something strange for a little bit of change. So she's arguing with Will. Will is so fed up. He tells her, I'm breaking up with you, or we're broken up, or whatever the hell. And he hangs up on her. She runs into the room because she's devastated that her husband is talking to her like this and broke up with her. And here comes Mark. He slithers into the room, slithers into the bed next to her, and he's just waiting for his opportunity. He's trying to go in for the kill. In conclusion, and I did waste your time talking about Will and Courtney because I didn't think I was going to talk about it this much. In conclusion, Will, if you and her were boyfriend and girlfriend, I can understand you breaking up with her and you being fed up with her and you just want to leave her by the wayside. This is your wife, though. Okay, this is your wife, and you took vows. If y'all are gonna forget about y'all's vows, I'm here to remind you. You took vows. You made a promise to her. You vowed to her that you were gonna be there, stick by her side through sickness and health, through rich or poor, through addiction or no addiction. You made a vow to take care of her. This is your wife. Okay, unless you've already signed those divorce papers, you need to go take care of your wife. You're the one that rushed to get married, knowing that this woman was not in any kind of damn position to marry anybody or to be in any kind of relationship. What she needed was she needed therapy to get off drugs or to help her addiction. That's what she needed. She should have been running to a rehabilitation, a drug rehab, not to an altar saying I do to you. She needs to say I do to sobriety. And she needs to say I do to a life free of crime. Okay, that's what she needed. You needed to leave her the hell alone. Let her get the help that she needed if she wanted it. And if she didn't want it, then you really have no business to be with her. But these people like Will and like Bianca, they are so desperate to have these felons in their lives that they worry if I don't hurry up and drag them to come live with me and drag them to the altar, they're going to leave me. And then they wonder why the relationships are falling apart because you're still dealing with addicts. You're still dealing with people who are struggling with addiction and they don't need to be in a relationship. They need to be getting rehab. Zariah and Troy. Zariah and Troy, this is another fake couple. They're a real couple, but their issues are fake. Zariah acting out of pocket, acting super jealous and insecure because he wants to go see his brother. Made no sense to me. Made no sense to me. The scenes are so fake. They're so fake. And it's not going to make any difference because they're still going to be together. Um, from Zariah acting completely insane about him going to go visit his brother for a couple of days because his brother is going through some type of a crisis and he needs to be there for his brother, and he's guilty because he feels like he wasn't there for his brother because he was busy committing crimes and going to prison, and him feeling all of that guilt and needing to go be with his family, completely lost on her. She's just upset that he's not taking her with him. And so she's jealous, she's insecure. And then the mom rolling a blunt while she's trying to call her son and her son not answering the damn phone. Y'all, this all to me is just Zariah, Troy, and Karen. It's a circus. It's a complete, utter circus. I'm not interested in Zariah and Troy because we know how their story is going to play out. Okay. First of all, it's going to be a lot of fakeness, a lot of BS. It's going to be Zariah becoming completely unhinged because Troy wants to go see his daughter. Troy wants to go see his family. Troy went into the other room and didn't take her with him. She's going to become completely unhinged. There's going to be a whole bunch of yelling and cussing and getting on him because she's going to feel like, you're with another woman. You're cheating on me. How come I'm not a priority? Blah, 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 blah. All fake. And he's just going to be like, I'm sorry, Zariah. I don't know what you want me to do, Zariah. I'm here for you. It's just going to be a whole bunch of that. This whole season is going to be just a whole bunch of that. Him falling, giving in to her and apologizing to her profusely while she goes upside his head with a damn baseball bat just because the man wants to go use the bathroom by himself without her. Just stupid. That's it, y'all. This review is all over the place, but I'm back on my Love After Lockup. I missed the first couple of episodes, but I'm back. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please do not forget to rate the video, like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later.